Eukarya. Membrane-bound organelles, cytoskeleton made of microtubules. Protists belong to this domain. Protist. A eukaryote that is not a fungus, plant or animal. 1. Most are unicellular. 2. Made up of phototrophs, heterotrophs and mixotrophs. 3. Varied reproduction, asexual, sexual. Endosymbiosis. The process where a unicellular organism engulfs other cells, which become endosymbionts and ultimately organelles in the host cell, where we think mitochondria originally came from. Plastid. Any of a class of small organelles in the cytoplasm of plant cells, containing pigment or food. Taught to originate from a eukaryotic cell engulfing a photosynthetic cell, leading to a symbiotic relationship. Five supergroups of protist. Excavata, Chromalveolata, Rhizaria, archaeplastida, secondary endosymbiosis. Algae that underwent this process, ingested in its food vacuoles a heterotrophic eukaryote, the opposite of the primary endosymbiosis theory. Excavata supergroup. Excavated groove on one side of the cell body, include parasites and many predatory and photosynthetic species. Excavata. Parabassalids belong to this supergroup. Excavata. Diplomonads belong to this supergroup. Excavata. Euglenozoans belong to this supergroup. Parabassalid belong to the Excavata supergroup and have modified mitochondria called hydrogenosomes, which generate energy anaerobically releasing hydrogen gas as a byproduct. Does not have plastids. Often related to sexually transmitted parasites, Trichomonas vaginalis. Diplomonad belong to the Excavata supergroup and have modified mitochondria called mitosomes. Does not have plastids, lack electron transport chains, cannot use oxygen, use biochemical pathways for energy. Many are parasites, 2 equally sized nuclei, multiple flagella. Euglenozoans belong to the Excavata supergroup and have flagella that differ in structure from those of other organisms. They have a rod inside the flagella that either spirals if is a crystalline structure in. Each of the flagella contains kinetoplastids and euglenids, includes predatory heterotrophs, photosynthetic autotrophs, parasites. Euglenide. Freshwater flagellates, many are mixotrophic, has chloroplasts, has an isopod composed of pellicle, a protein band that gives shape and structure, strength and flexibility. Other euglenids can engulf prey using phagycytosis. Euglenozoans, Excavata. Mitosome. Modified mitochondria of a diplomonad belonging to the Excavata supergroup. Eukaryotic flagella. extensions of the cytoplasm, consisting of bundles of microtubules covered by T cells. Plasma membrane. Hydrogenosome. Modified mitochondria of a parabosylete belonging to the Excavata supergroup. Phagycytosis. The ingestion of bacteria or other material by phagocytes and amoeboid protozoans. Kinetoplastid. Distinct by its large single mitochondrion that contains an organized mass of DNA called a kinetoplast. Heterotrophic flagella attached to the surface. X. Trypanosoma, causes African sleeping sickness. The surface of this protist is covered in proteins, and before the host can recognize the protein to attack it, it changes the protein, occur outside the cell, from sets fly. Chromalveolate. Grouped based on the presence of a plastid with right algae origin. Secondary endosymbiosis includes alveolates and stramatopiles. Alveolate. Group of protists whose monophyly is well supported by molecular systematics, membrane bond sacs. Alveoli, just under the plasma membrane, include dinoflagellates, apicomplexans and ciliates. Dinoflagellate. Protists characterized by cells that are reinforced by cellulose plates, have two flagella located in grooves in its armor. It spins as it swims through water. Large component of phytoplankton. Many photosynthetic dinoflagellate are mixotrophic, and half of all dinoflagellates are purely heteromorphic. Alveolates, chromalveolates. Apicomplexan. Protists that are parasites in animals, and some cause human disease. It spreads their host as tiny infectious cells called sporozoites, has a complex of organelles at the end of the protist, specialized for penetrating host cells and tissues, not photosynthetic, but have a modified plastid, called an apicoplast. Secondary symbiosis. Apex. The apex, one end, of the sporozoite cell contains a complex of organelles specialized for penetrating host cells and tissues. Plasmodium. Commonly known apicomplexan, that causes malaria, is inside the supergroup Chromalveolata, that causes malaria, is inside the cell. Ciliate. Large varied group of protists named for their cilia, their locomotion, have two types of nuclei. Tiny micronuclei, for reproduction, and large macronuclei, for cell function, reproduce asexually by binary fission or through conjugation. Heterotrophic protist belonging to alveolates, belonging to supergroup Chromalveolata. Cilia. Hair-like vibrating structure used for locomotion. Conjugation. A sexual process in which two individuals exchange haploid micronuclei but do not reproduce. Stramatopile. subgroup of protists belonging to Chromalveolata, named for its characteristic flagellum, which has numerous fine, hair-like projections, four groups, diatoms, golden algae, brown algae, mycetes. Diatom. Unicellular algae with unique glass-like wall made of hydrated silica, silicon dioxide, highly diverse group of protists, plays an important role in the carbon cycle and forms diatomaceous earth. Because it cannot be broken down by decomposers once dead, autotroph, belongs to group Stramenopyle and supergroup Chromalveolata. Golden algae. Characteristic color of yellow and brown carotenoids, are biflagellated, both flagella attached near one end of the cell. Components of freshwater and plankton, all are phototrophic, some are mixotrophic, use phagycytosis to feed on other organisms. Most species are unicellular, but some are colonial, belongs to group Stramenopyle and supergroup Chromalveolata. Brown algae. Largest and most complex algae, seaweeds, brown in pigment, have a holdfast, plant-like body called a thallus. Phototrophic, multicellular, reproductive cells are flagellated. Alternation of generations, Sporophyte, Gametophyte, Sporophyte dominant, example, seaweed for sushi, kelp. Belongs to group Stramenopyle and supergroup Chromalveolata. Holdfast. Anchor into the seabed used by protists such as brown algae. Thallus. Algal body that is plant-like used by protists such as brown algae. Stipe. Stem-like structure on top of a thallus that supports the blades used by protists such as brown algae. Blade. Provides most of an algae's photosynthetic surface of water used by protists such as brown algae. Alternation of generations. Alternation of multicellular haploid and diploid forms, two stages, Sporophyte and Gametophyte, and Gametophyte haploid. Sporophyte stage. Diploid individual that produces haploid spores. These spores have flagella and are called zoospores. Zoospore. Haploid sex cells of a sporophyte that develop into haploid multicellular male and female gametophytes. Gametophyte stage. Union of two gametes results in a diploid zygote initiating from two haploid individuals, produces a multicellular sporophyte. Heteromorphic. Sporophyte and gametophytes are structurally different. Isomorphic. Sporophyte and gametophytes appear similar structurally but differ in chromosome number. Mycete. Water molds and their relatives, originally thought to be fungi due to similar physical structure. Heterotrophs, asexual, belongs to group Stramenopyle and supergroup Chromalveolata. Rhizaria. Group of protists based on DNA similarities. Many of these use pseudopodia for locomotion and feeding, include radiolarians, forams, cerazoans, red algae, green algae. Radiolarian. Characterized by delicate, intricately symmetrical internal skeletons that are generally made of silica, use pseudopodia for locomotion. A long length of microtubules, looks like a stick star. Heteromorphic, unicellular, belongs to supergroup Rhizarian. Forams. Short for foraminiferans, named for porous shells, found in freshwater and marine. Pseudopodia extends through pores, unicellular, heterotrophic, asexual and sexual, belongs to supergroup. Tests or foram tests. A single piece of organic material hardened with calcium carbonate like a shell. Archaeplastida. A supergroup of protists grouped based on evolutionary history of red and green algae that engulfed a cyanobacterium. Photosynthetic, important O-squared producers, primary producers in freshwater, marine food web. Red algae. Most abundant in tropical oceans, red pigments cover green chlorophylls. Photosynthetic, most are multicellular. Alternation of generations is common, but there are no flagellated stages and depend on gametes to bring their gametes together for fertilization. Belong to supergroup Archaeplastida. Green algae. Characterized by their green color, divided into two groups, xerophytes and chlorophytes. Autotrophic, can be unicellular, colonial, and multicellular, can be asexual or sexual, belong to supergroup Archaeplastida. Xerophyte. Some multicellular, some unicellular type of green algae. Chlorophyte. Unicellular type of green algae. Sexual chlorophytes have biflagellated gametes that have cup-shaped chloroplasts. Some chlorophytes have alternation of generations. Volvox. Type of green algae that is colonial in freshwater, has a complex life cycle. It is both sexual and asexual. Eukarya. A supergroup of protists based on types of protein and DNA similarities. This group contains animals, fungi and some protists, includes groups, amoebozoans and opisthokonts. Amoebozoan. A clade of protists supported by molecular data, includes many species that have lobar tube shaped, rather than thread-like, pseudopodia. This group includes slime molds, gymnoamoebas and amoebas. Slime mold. Also called mycetozoans, fruit-producing bodies that aid in spore dispersal, have two kinds of slime molds, plasmodial slime molds and cellular slime molds.
Plasmodial slime mold.
Brightly colored, often yellow or orange protists form plasmodiums at some point in their life. Does Not use cytokinesis during cell division, uses phagycytosis to feed, heterotrophic, reproduces sexually using fruiting bodies, diploid organism, belongs to the group Amoebozoan and supergroup Eukarya. Plasmodium in reference to a slime mold. Single mass of cytoplasm that is undivided by plasma membranes and contains many nuclei. It is a supercell, belongs to a plasmodial slime mold. Cellular slime mold. Characterized as a whole organism, which cells function independently until there is no more food. Once food is gone, they aggregate together and function as a unit, unlike plasmodial slime mold. Cellular slime mold are separated by individual plasma membranes. They are a haploid organism. Fruiting bodies function asexually instead of sexually. Heterotrophic, belongs to the group Amoebozoan and supergroup Eukarya. Gymnamoeba. Unicellular protists that eat detritus. Heterotrophic, consumes bacteria and other protists as well. Belongs to the group Amoebozoan and supergroup Eukarya. Chromalveolata. Some data suggests the supergroup ___ is monophyletic and originated by a secondary endosymbiosis event. Plastids. Blank evolved by endosymbiosis of a photosynthetic cyanobacterium. Alveolata. Members of blank have membrane-bounded sacs just under the plasma membrane. Apicomplexans. Group or parasites of animals. Some cause serious human diseases. They spread through their host as infectious cells called sporozoites. The apex contains a complex of organelles specialized for penetrating host cells and tissues. Most have sexual and asexual stages that require 2 or more different host species for completion. Conjugation. Ciliates reproduce through a sexual process called ____ and is separate from reproduction, which generally occurs by binary fission. Oomycetes. Water molds and their relatives. Water molds, white rusts, and downy mildews, previously considered to be fungi based on morphological studies. They have filaments, hyphae, that facilitate nutrient uptake. Clade includes both decomposers and the parasites responsible for potato blight. Rhizaria. DNA evidence supports ____ as a monophyletic clade. ___ include radiolarians, forams and cercozoans. Unicorns. Supergroup includes animals, fungi, and some protists. This group includes 2 clades, the Amoebozoans and Neopisticonts, animals, fungi, and related protists. The root of the eukaryotic tree remains controversial. It is unclear whether ____ separated from other eukaryotes early or late.